Okay, so we've gone over the Ubersoft master a little bit, and now I wanted to get into some of the other lights here in the kit, namely the soft distant and soft point here. And these are actually using the same shader in terms of rendering, but the real difference is that you'll get different icons or different display in the OpenGL viewport. So this is going to look like a distant light, and this other one is going to look like a point light that you're used to seeing anyway. So there's the point light, there's the distant light. But really, in terms of how they look, how they render, the only difference is this directional lighting. So the distant directional lighting is set to 1, the point is set to 0. And yeah, I'm just letting you have the different kind of visualizations inside of Studio for the two different types of light, but they really render the same with the same values when you use the same values, I should say. But the cool thing about the lights is that this is actually a slider, so you can take a light like a distant light. So I'll take this distant light, and actually I'll go back to the master, and I can actually just turn the sky off. So at this point, this light, the master isn't contributing any light at all. It's acting as a shadow controller. So with the skylight off, it's merely just a shadow controller for the other lights in the kit that are active. So this distant light, if I just rotate it so it's kind of like a skylight, and I'll just render that, you'll see there's no more of that orange from the sky. There's really just this single light coming down from the distant light. And so this will be really directional. As I spin this around, I can create kind of a backlight kind of setup, and it's very directional. But I can also start pulling the slider and making it more and more omnidirectional, or kind of like a point light would be. And it's actually casting light from this where this light is located, since it's a point light now. So I'll have to move it out, and I will rotate it back. So now it feels more like a point light. You see kind of that it's kind of emanating from here, but I can kind of blend in between a directional light, which is pretty cool. And I don't know, some of the more important controls here that I've added are these wrap falloff, the wrap and wrap falloff. These lights let you turn this light into a pseudo area light of sorts. So I'll go back to directional, so you can just see that, and then I'll start cranking up this wrap, and you'll see what that does is it starts wrapping more around the surface. So it's like this, the light source is a bigger light and bigger light source, and so it feels more and more like an area light, or a very soft light source, I guess you could say. And then what the wrap falloff does is controls how fast or slow that wrapping occurs. So the lower the value, the slower it will fall off, so the more wrap you get. And with high values, you actually get kind of a specular, it feels more kind of specular, or kind of really it feels like it's very sharply pointed light. So those are those controls. You can get some cool effects with them. The other thing that's really important with this light is the fall off. So once you turn fall off, this will act like the kind of the default DAZ Studio point light, meaning it will have exponential fall off. And so you'll see it's no longer, the light's no longer making it back here, because it's decaying, it's falling off from the light. But you can use the start determines at what distance the light begins to fall off. The end tells you at what distance there is no light. These are both 0, so it's actually kind of an infinite fall off, but based on but it's an exponential fall off. So the fall off decay describes how fast the fall off occurs. So if you want to be more precise or deliberate about things, I can set this to be a linear fall off. I know at 1 meter I want it to be totally off, and I can render, and at 1 meter out it's totally black. But if I want that to go further out, I increase that, and now I'm getting 8 meters of fall off. And these controls are really useful for creating pools of light. So the great thing you can do, like in some of the images that are available, is that you can start creating pools of light with the distant and point light using the fall off. So you can place these where you want bounce or different lights to different effects in a certain region, and really control where that light is going to have any effect in it, and it stays in that location. And that's kind of the cool thing about that. And so you can start adding more and more. So I'll turn on this other point light that we had already created, and I'll pull down the intensity a little bit, make it red here, and for kicks I'll just kind of bring it over here. And the shadows all work together. So that's the cool thing about the kit too, is you don't get distinct hard shadows. You get shadows that take all lights into account and blend in between them. And that's one of the nice things about this light kit, is that it takes all your lights into consideration and makes a soft shadow based on that. So that's kind of the quick run through of the lights. And just to hit the other things that are in here, these are all presets using different presets for the master. So if you select the master, and I'll go down here so you can see the colors, this will just change your colors and your horizon height as well. So, and I'll turn this on, and now there's a sky as well as the other lights, and again it's still blending. I'm kind of blowing it out with more lights than I need right now, but those shadows take all light directions into account. And there you have it.